What's up, traders? I bet many are asking, why did Bitcoin go down on the news? It was supposed to go up. Inflows, billions and dollars of institutional money. Well, turns out this time wasn't different. And we're going to talk about why in the live stream. So wait through the intro music or skip ahead. And that's going to be our first topic of discussion, as well as a market update on all the things that trade. So we'll see you in a minute. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday and welcome to the Weekly Close live stream. Definitely going to talk about Bitcoin to top off this live stream. We have to. We have to. And it's not so much a victory lap. I'm not going to claim victory that I said that it was going to be a sell the news event or anything, but I just really wanted to clear up the misconception because I've spent a lot of time today and this week in Bitcoin based chat rooms, social media, because I like to keep my ear to the ground and know what people are talking about as sort of an indicator for me. And yeah, there's a lot of cope. There is a lot of cope going on right now. And I have been utterly convinced that this was going to be a sell the news type of event. I mean, to me, it's just like the sun rising. It really is just that simple because this is not a bunch of short sellers. It's not a bunch of evil whales they're ruining everyone's day. It's just what happens in markets. And you can go back and you can read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, which is a great trading book written 100 years ago now because we're in the 20s. Yeah, it was written throughout the 20s as a series of newspaper articles about trading the stock market prior to the crash of 1929. And they talk about things like this, news events that come out and how price tends to run up before the event. And then when it happens, it sells off. And everyone was convinced that this time it's different. Well, it's not. Because the reason price rises, we're going to chart a Bitcoin right now. I'm not sure exactly when. I should probably look up when the date was. I don't have my Jen here to look up stuff for me. Where is he? Okay. So at some point, I'm not going to say a wrong day, but at some point in this last 3 months since October, the ETF has been all the talk. And basically, people were buying it in preparation for it. And really, it kind of reached a fever pitch there at the end. I'm not going to share any names because I don't want to get people, I want to make people feel bad or anything. But there's a lot of people that bought into very short term, possibly even leveraged positions at around, the beginning of this week, really believing, drinking the Kool-Aid, that there were going to be billions of inflows that would happen immediately and they would get some good short-term profits. And, on Wednesday, it seemed at about 9:45. Let's see when the actual turn was on Wednesday. It seemed at about 9:32 is when I started getting pings from people telling me that sell the news was going to be wrong. And it's funny because that's basically right around the period of maximum elation. And I'm gonna have a confession to make here in just a second once I finish talking about this because it affected me too. It did. And I'm going to talk about the supply and everything like that too because we have to talk about what Bitcoin is and why people thought this. But that is just so ironic. At this point of maximum elation, that's when the market turned. But it's not ironic because that's when people were feeling the most emotion, and that was reflected in the price. Leading up into this, what's funny to me is for years that I've been following Bitcoin, trading it, investing in it, the mainstream media has been lukewarm to negative about it. But in this ETF, because it's sponsored by, or it's been done by BlackRock and all these institutions, well, sure enough, the legacy media, as in cable news, print news, everything like that, they've been shilling it. They've been basically touting it. Now Bitcoin's a great investment. What was it? Jim Cramer even came out. What did Jim Cramer say that about Bitcoin? Jim Cramer, Bitcoin. Where did he? The Google thing's doing that thing again. Last week, Jim Cramer's kind of a meme that whenever he says something, something then goes down. Cramer, but it's not because calls for major a week. No. Oh, okay. So that's funny. Okay, this is even funnier actually. So now he calls a major top a week after praising its growth. So he made a tweet, or I think he wrote in his show. He says something about how Bitcoin was now like a major asset to be bought by people. And it's funny because he has been kind of a meme as people have gone so far as to create an inverse Kramer ETF. It's actually down. Oh, that's funny. It's down. So you can't actually inverse him for money. Kramer is not a death knell to anything. He's just a media personality, and he's going to talk about what people are talking about so that they'll tune in and watch him. And that just happens to be at a high. But I think it's kind of against the big Bitcoin ethos to be having all this institutional interest. But that's not what people want. People want these ETFs to buy Bitcoin, take it out of supply, and therefore make the price go up. It's that simple. Bitcoin's not a currency anymore. It's not going to be a tool for human freedom. It's not supposed to be really inflation hedge so much as the main use case of Bitcoin is number go up. You take your cash and you buy Bitcoin with it, and then you don't sell it. And then no one else can sell your Bitcoin for you. And so if you hold it out of supply, there's limited supply. So if someone else wants Bitcoin, if you go on Twitter and you meme enough to get other people to buy Bitcoin, it will make the price go up. And then at some later date when Bitcoin has more zeros of dollar value around it, whatever, you basically just buy Bitcoin until taste, and taste being how rich you are. You want to be a millionaire? That could be about a year or two from now. Billionaire? That's 10 years. You might have to wait a decade to be a billionaire. But here's the thing. And by the way, let me chill for a second. I do this every Friday, live streams, and I talk about trades and markets, and but this has to be a knock-on effect from the post I've been making in throughout this period here, because I have to be a contrarian. And people say that I'm a contrarian. That makes me mainstream. That I doubt Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million of Bitcoin. That makes me mainstream. No, I know things. Okay. I've been doing this for many years, and I talk to a lot of these people, and the emotion there that I've been seeing for the last couple of weeks has just been almost sheer arrogance. And it's so reminiscent of bubbles in the past. Not saying it's a bubble, but people were just way too convinced in their little echo chambers of how much this ETF was going to make them really rich. And that's all it is right now. But anyway, I do this every Friday. Links are down below, but I got to keep going because I got to admit that Tuesday night, I had a bit of a panic attack. I've been doing this. I've been following Bitcoin for since 2011. I bought my first Bitcoin for $20. I've been trading professionally, due in part because of Bitcoin, since 2013. 11 years now this month, actually. Wow. And I had a moment of panic on Tuesday night when this ETF was going to launch on Wednesday. And I had been reading all these people telling me that I'm wrong, that the ETFs were going to buy Bitcoin out of supply, that was going to constrain the supply even further, that it was going to make the price rise to way new all-time high, break the past all-time high, blow it out of the water. They weren't selling until at least $500,000 per Bitcoin or $1 million. Just we'll see what bills I have coming up. That was what I was inundated. I put myself in these situations to gaslight myself. I really do, because I don't want to exist in an echo chamber. I don't want to exist where everyone just tells me where I'm right. Today I'm reading, the Bitcoin chats, and they're all just sharing the same tweets with each other about how, oh, it's fine. We didn't really think it was going to go up yesterday. No, we're in it for the long haul. Yeah, and this is just the first day. Just wait just wait. Be patient. Maybe they're right, but Tuesday night, I really and truly started to take their arguments to heed. I really started to think, you know what? If the ETF does launch and these institutions are forced to buy Bitcoin to fulfill There are obligations of people holding the ETF. If everyone does finally realize the truth that if everyone bought Bitcoin, the price would go up. If everyone just participated in this activity, this triangle, this pyramid of buying, and really when you buy it, you have to go on Twitter and you have to meme to people. You have to tell everyone that they're going to be really rich. You have to spread this network effect. And then your Bitcoin will be worth more. But that's okay because the people that bought it, they're also going to be rich too. Everybody's going to be rich. Everybody's going to be rich. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun, man. And I was thinking oh my God, what if I'm wrong? What if they're right? Oh my God, I need to buy it here Tuesday night. And then I realized I didn't have to do anything. I'm not saying in years past when I was a younger trader. I mean, I knew what I was feeling. I was feeling FOMO. And I let that pass through me. Little thing from Dune, let the FOMO pass through me. I will remain and it will go, however that goes. But I realized that emotion was a top. Because when you're feeling like it's the worst possible, when something goes down on you, and then you sell, and then it turns right away, it's not because some guy with big lips and a meme told everyone to pump it after you sold. It's not that the market is out to get you, it's that you are the market. And so psychologically, everyone was buying it up until this point, holding it because they wanted, they thought it made sense. Logically, it does. The fundamentals are there. If you just buy it up, there's no supply and the price keeps going up as long as people keep buying it. It makes total sense. But then why did it go down? It went down because it was already priced in. And once that event occurs, there's nothing left to pump it, at least not in the short term. Now, what the arguments I've heard for people that are holding on to this, they're able to brush it off because we've got the halvening coming up. That's coming up pretty soon too, and that's going to further constrain the supply because there's going to be less Bitcoin being produced. That's the argument, and it's made things go up 3 times out of 3 times before. Again, I put myself in these positions. I put myself in to gaslight myself to understand, am I wrong? Am I wrong about this? They don't do that. They go seeking Twitters and social media of people that are going to tell them exactly what they're hearing from everyone else. I mean, the whole Twitter sphere is just awash in cope and seethe today as to why this didn't happen. But like I said, this phenomenon has been going on for over 100 years. Before there was Bitcoin, before there were stocks, I'm sure. It's a market factor based on human psychology. And so when I tie myself into these spheres, I can't, when you look into the abyss looks back at you. When I read into their arguments about how these inflows are going to create this massive buying wave and this massive upward pressure in Bitcoin, I got affected by it too. But I'm also able to see the kind of the darker side of these social media posts, and they are very arrogant. You'll be sorry. Oh, I'm going to be so rich. It's but Bitcoin's going to go to this number with lots of zeros. I mean, it's just like, do they get to win? Is it my ego talking when I don't think that they do? I'm asking rhetorically to a live stream, but I asked myself this, and I don't really have the answer. But my gut tells me no. It just tells me no. I've seen this before with other instruments. I've seen this at other times in Bitcoin's history. And I think that people just got a little too excited. This is the kind of excitement that you'd want to see if Bitcoin were here. If Bitcoin had blown above the last all-time high, and we were like right about here. If we were like around 80K Bitcoin, if we were in an alternate reality where we were at 80K Bitcoin, this kind of arrogance and this kind of memeing would make a lot more sense than where we are here, whereas basically we're fighting to recover or hold rather halfway before the drop. Yeah, laser eyes. Yeah, exactly. What's up, man? I mean, no one really yeah, laser eyes. By the way, I've noticed does Michael Saylor still have laser eyes on his portrait on his Twitter? Have laser eyes gone away? Hold on. Twitter. Yeah, he hasn't changed it. But yeah, laser eyes. I think I remember reading somewhere. Oh, did I? Oh, sorry. I didn't. Oh, have I been talking this whole time? Oh, damn it. Sorry. Okay. You just been listening to me. Thank you. All right. So I should have done that before. Anyway, I guess you just been listening to a radio of me on Discord. Yeah, actually you have to ping me on there. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Okay. All right. Well, since my stride was killed by my own ignorance. See, I make mistakes. Maybe I'm making a big mistake on Bitcoin. Maybe I am. Maybe I am going to miss out. But you know what? I actually don't. I don't have to care. That's the big difference that I see. I think there are a lot of people have rested their entire. I'm not exaggerating. There are a lot of people that have rested their entire financial future on Bitcoin, not crypto. Bitcoin. They have no stocks, no real estate, no bonds. They just have Bitcoin. And if everyone else would do that, we'd all be really super rich. So why don't we? Why don't we all buy Bitcoin? That's serious question. Why don't we all buy Bitcoin? Why don't we? Why don't we take all the cash we have right now and buy it? Why don't we? I mean, the answer for me is I prefer. Oh, you already have a Monopoly playset? Yeah. I personally prefer now to invest in companies that produce goods and services. Someone asked me today, they brought up Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos as examples of billionaires, and I was like, you're right. They built massive industries around them. They changed the world literally. You're Jeremiah. You are 34 trillion in debt, or the country is. Is that why we don't buy Bitcoin, or is that the reason to buy Bitcoin? I'm not. I've heard the argument, but I'm not really convinced that A equals B. That because the United States government is in so much debt that we need to buy Bitcoin. I don't. It doesn't. I've heard the arguments. I've gone through my head, and it still doesn't make sense to me. Because what are we going to do, or what is everyone going to do? Does everyone need to buy Bitcoin? And then what are they going to do with it when the U.S. dollar collapses? You can't go buy food with Bitcoin. You can't, because you're going to go to buy $50 worth of groceries at the grocery store and take a $20, $30 Bitcoin fee. Lightning Network was supposed to fix that, but that has been exploited, and now they're working on a different solution, so we can't do that. And the other arguments I've seen lots of YouTubers talking about it, where don't think about the price of housing going up, because if you would have bought Bitcoin last year at this time, you would not only have your down payment taken care of, but you could have bought twice as the value of a house. Would have made sense, And so what they're doing is they're projecting this in the future. Like, okay, don't save for a down payment in cash, buy Bitcoin, and then when you're ready to buy a house, you'll be able to buy the house pretty much outright, because 5 years from now, Bitcoin's going to clearly be a few $100,000 if everyone does that. And that's correct. That's correct. It's so it's vexing for me because I understand it. I do understand the premise of it that if you constrain the supply on something that's scarce, then the price will go up. But people are just way too arrogant about that fact. It's just the most the most logical conclusion is the most ironic, I think. But the reason I don't jump in and buy it, like I said, is because I like to invest in companies that produce goods and services, and Bitcoin itself produces nothing. Produces nothing. It could have been a currency one day, but you kind of negate the ability for it to be a currency when every time you spend it, you incur a taxable event. And you're paying 30% in taxes every time you buy something with it. So it's not really that. Now it's just basically become an asset that people own, and it goes up in value because everyone takes it out of supply, and we all get rich. I just can't get behind that. I just can't. I just can't. And I think that what that does now is attracts not institutional investors. It attracts people that, want to, in a lot of the cases, in recent times, get rich quick. Um, but I don't know, man. I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong. That's what I'd like to try to be different. Maybe I like to question myself, second guess myself to get to a more correct opinion before the market comes to that opinion. Um, but as far as what happened this week with Bitcoin, for me, it was like the sun rising. It was not, I mean, you had the blow off top, but the fact that this bar is starting to turn red, a lot of people are confused because they stuck themselves in echo chambers. And yeah, no, didn't work. So anyway, that's my 30-minute rant to start out with. As always, if you guys have symbols to look at, I mean, I know we got, the big winner today. The big winner today, well, it was Ethereum. Oh, it's down now. But yeah, Ethereum had this huge one. But yeah, we'll look at it. I mainly look at stocks now, but I do absolutely spend time on crypto. But if you got a symbol to look at, I want you guys to post it in the chat, either live stream, either Discord, YouTube, or TradingView, which I'm using and I love. I do this live stream to crowdsource ideas, and we've had a lot of good ideas come from this stream because I frankly can't look at every single instrument that trades. There's a lot of them. There's a lot. Yeah, we're going to look at Tesla too. You know what? I'm going to get a little political on Tesla, actually. I am. So, but yeah, get them in the chat, and we'll talk about them. Let's talk about Tesla. Let's talk. Since I'm pontificating, F this. What is ENSUSDT? Is that ENS? Is that a crypto? So, let me find it. Hold on. Was it the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal that published that thing about Elon being on drugs? Which one was it? Washington Post? Either way, just a few days ago, either one of these, I really try not to get political in my trading, but we've got to. One of these left-wing papers went after Elon with a anonymous source talking about his drug uses. Now, I don't care. I don't think people actually care, except for maybe the government, which he has contracts with for SpaceX. I have been calling this for months and months and months because I've seen the same story play out, the same tactics play out. What we're looking at here is Alinsky's 13th rule. Saul Alinsky was an activist back in the 60s. He was part of the civil rights movement, but he basically wrote a book outlining what were very effective tactics if you were a radical, if you were a minority, if you were a political minority, and you wanted to, attack, punch up and attack the the opposition. And these are really, really good tools. And what you're seeing right now is number 13, which is pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. They don't need to polarize Elon anymore. I was actually taken aback by a lot of people that already dislike Elon because he's just a billionaire. Billionaire equals bad, right? It doesn't matter that he built that billion on company after company that, first was a payment service online. It was X, then it was PayPal. I think that's the coordination. I mean, before that, for PayPal, you didn't buy stuff online. You just didn't do it. So he created that for people. And then he went and created Tesla, which has revolutionized electric cars, automated driving. Then he created SpaceX, which is actually taking us to space again. He's done all these things to really change the world, but he's a bad guy. I didn't really understand that, but I accept the fact that people think that. But then he did something rather egregious. He bought Twitter. And worse, let me find it. Worse still, Elon, I like this. Chief Troll Officer. If you guys haven't seen you guys know my icon is a stockbroker troll doll. And earlier today in the Bitcoin chat, one of my contemporaries made me an AI, which I use for the logo here, which I thought was really cute, so I saved it. Basically, I feel sorry for graphic designers because they don't have a job anymore. But anyway, Elon Musk has made a decided turn, or I don't think it's a turn, but he is right wing. He is. I mean, I'm not saying he's extreme right wing, but he's right of center. And from these media attacks, he's stuck it back at the legacy media. And I know and that's what this is a weird distraction for me, because normally I just talk in terms of price. But I really do think that they are going after Elon. They're going after Tesla because they've been talking about, was it Tesla autopilot unsafe? What I think is so funny is that they ignore the fact, they ignore 8 of those current tests use autopilot. Okay, here's the thing. Again, Washington Post, which is ironically owned by another billionaire, which is Jeff Bezos. It's like billionaires fighting each other, and people are picking a side. So they, look at this, testing Tesla's autopilot. They're talking about Tesla autopilot being unsafe, but they forget to look at, or they don't think they forget to, but Tesla autopilot accidents per mile. If we actually look at the shocking toll of it, but what is that compared to human driving? So Tesla vehicle safety report. There's a comparison in here of miles driven on the autopilot or Tesla's not using the autopilot versus the United States average. So basically, human drivers, this is miles per one accident. So in other words, you can drive this many accidents, or was it in millions? Yeah, 1,000,000 miles before the accident occurs. So basically, most people, if you take the average number of miles that people drive, every 500,000 miles, someone gets into an accident. With a Tesla using the autopilot, it takes almost 5 to 6 million. It's an order of magnitude safer. But you see all these articles coming out about how it's unsafe. Now, I have a Tesla. It's safe as F. It's safer than me. I actually got into a little, I ran up on something, ran up on a curve because I was driving. The Tesla autopilot never would have done that. Now, that's the argument that basically by turning it over to autopilot, I become a worse driver. That's possible. That's maybe a risk. I'll admit that. But there is an active campaign against Elon and Tesla right now. And that's partly because when Elon bought Twitter, he took it private and he financed it, the cash he needed to buy it, by leveraging his Tesla shares. So the problem now for me and everyone else that's a Tesla investor, let me take a step back. Let me take a step back. In the broad scheme of price action, Tesla's doing pretty much nothing. I'm not worried about it in that sense. But the risk now is coming from his opponents politically, is what I'm saying. Because his financing, his ownership of Twitter, which they're not happy, he took away their, as Elon calls it, ideological weapon to control the public space of narratives. They're not happy about that. His opponents are not. And Tesla, shares of Tesla, the value of Tesla shares are what underpins his ownership of Twitter. And so Tesla shares are fair game. And so making people feel that Teslas are unsafe by publishing articles or talking about how he's a crazy drug addict in another article, yeah, it's pretty coordinated and it's pretty consistent. And I don't think I'm wrong. Now, what effect this is actually going to have on it, as I tried to tell a good friend of mine who I constantly try to make a point to him that he needs to stop giving these people their support. But he said, "Oh, well, you know what? Doesn't change the fundamentals of the company. It's a once in a generation buying opportunity if they do tank Tesla." I like it how he's honest with me enough to say, yeah, these people are doing bad stuff, but I don't care. I don't care. That's fine. But I think that if we're gonna, I have to talk about if we're gonna talk about Tesla, as far as the price action goes, 200 was still the point from the level from January to July of last year, and that is where I made a pretty large purchase myself, and adding to the 160 purchase from there, and now it's just kind of hanging out. Well, we all love for it to go up, but it's just like Bitcoin. It's got to traverse a lot of uncertainty before it can make a new all-time high. Now, if you're just trading it, if you're trying to short-term trade it, probably better to be on the short side. But that's Tesla. Because, I mean, I can't really, I work on opportunities. I trade based on opportunities. And right now, I don't see an opportunity to long. The opportunity is and was at 200. This is apples to oranges, but it's still apples to maybe pears. But I've had a couple of things that have been long-term, like let's say Home Depot, that have come back to my buy level and held that support multiple times. The 50% retracement. It happens. If it's a support, it should hold. If it doesn't, you know who to blame. And don't let them win. Don't let them win in 10 months. Please. If you don't live here and you don't know what I'm talking about, count yourself lucky. All right. What else? Ethereum name service. Okay, let's look at some other things. And again, guys, if you have stuff, post it in the chat, and we'll take a look at it. So, ENSUSDT. Okay, Ethereum name service. Okay. Hey, that looks like it's mooning. Okay. So what I want to do with this, like I do with everything else that I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, is we want to take it from the low that started the trend to here, and we want to wait and buy it only if and when it comes back to the 50% retracement. I know you may be feeling that emotion that I was feeling on Tuesday this week, that you're going to miss it. But you won't. And there'll be other opportunities. The fact that, I mean, not a live stream goes by that someone doesn't bring to me some crypto, or in yesteryear, a meme stock that was mooning. I think more in recent times, Cardano. Cardano was another one that I've been marking up because, yep, I told people when they were asking me about it a couple weeks ago that we want to come back to, let's see, 46 cents. Ooh, just missed it. You might still get that opportunity though. You might. And then Solana was the other one that a lot of my viewers like to look at. So let's do a quick check of that. Again, same thing. And here's the thing, all this stuff really was just kind of sympathy bullishness with Bitcoin, with all the crypto going up. And so now that that's kind of evaporating with Bitcoin, you may get your chance that you were trying to chase up here when everyone was getting interested in, coming to the live stream and talking about it. Yeah, in the last live stream of the year, I know we were talking about Solana and Cardano, and I said it then, just wait for a pullback. Don't FOMO, don't FOMO, don't FOMO. Do not FOMO. What's up, Casey? All right. Yeah, let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia's been kind of funny because I think there's a guy, Peru Saxenic. Jen, can you bring me up that tweet? He I had to ask my friend, like, why are we so against him buying this breakout? Casey, what do you think of Nvidia, Casey? You're my breakout expert. So he bought the breakout, Peru Saxon, and he's like a famous investor, I guess. He's got a big Twitter following, but he's constantly tweeting about doom and gloom and recession. So it's just out of character for him to buy a breakout on something if you think everything's going to crash. But I mean, as a trader, I'm going to be very forgiving, especially when somebody is wrong. I'm wrong a lot as a trader. I mean, that's what we do. We make speculative bets. If we're a long-term holder, we're still trading. Okay, you're still trading 1 year to the next. There's a distinction between day traders and long-term traders, but still, that's when Michael Burry was actually betting on the stock market going down back in September late this year, and he came to Twitter and said he was wrong. Look, I think that a lot of people don't get investing trading when they're on the outside of it. They think, oh, well, if you just don't have a crystal ball, if you don't know what the future is going to be to the penny, then your entire pursuit is completely worthless. Okay, cool story, bro. Really all you need is to be right once. Hopefully right about 30-40% of the time, and you're really good. But you really don't have to be right every time. You definitely do not have to be right half the time. And so when people are wrong, they start to really harp on those wrong things. Kind of miss out on the big wins, actually. So Nvidia 547. Do you okay, so here's how I like to pray breakouts. And actually this is still a week. Yeah, this is still this week that it's happening, actually. So we got time. Or actually, this week closed. Here's how I like to play a breakout. And to your question, Sergio, what I would like to see is I would like to see it come back and confirm this very, very clear past all-time high level. I'm trying to think about, all I see is bear porn when you scroll his feed. That's the thing. I find that when people post stuff about, if I personally, I enjoy just being a humble guy that doesn't need to do particularly anything, including buy Bitcoin at a given moment. But if I wanted this big $100,000 following, not dollar, if I wanted this big 100,000 follower social media presence, here's what I would do. I would constantly post about how the stock market was going to crash, how real estate was going to crash, and how Bitcoin was going to moon. Those three things, if I just consider, I should make a troll account and try that. Just make an account. If you want to be a social media icon, just make an account producing content that say those three things. If you don't really know much about real estate, just do two things. Stock market going to crash, Bitcoin going to moon, and you will get engagement. And so people that are successful, that's what they do at social media. That's kind of the Jim Cramer effect too. He's not really trying to create, value for people so much as talk about things that people are talking about. Me, I, for one, don't need to monetize YouTube. I don't need to do all those kind of things. I just want to find good trades. I want to seek truth, or what is going to be true. And that's not what people are memeing about in the moment. It's what people are not memeing about. That's the big thing. I mean, this. Let me stay on topic in our rant. So, do I think it has juice for 580? That is a question for a crystal ball, Sergio. It really is. And that's just going to be an opinion. You're asking me my opinion. Yes, sure, or no, it doesn't. And if I got that from someone, it wouldn't be useful. So let me tell you what is useful to me. I see something breaking out of an all-time high. I see a big green weekly candle like this, and I'm like, okay, this is a confirmed breakout this week. Awesome. I don't FOMO. What I do is I'm going to watch the next week, and then what we're going to get is we'll get a couple of different things. I mean, three things can basically happen. This thing can make another big weekly green bar. Let's change that to green to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. And if we're already long, then yay, good for us. Or we could get a red bar, option number 2. And in that case, we want to watch it very closely, because if it pulls back to this level, which is basically 500, is a nice psychological level. It's also the past all-time high. And it holds next week at that level. That's an awesome breakout buy. However, if option 3 happens and we get a close below that level, yikes. That is the first sign of a false breakout. And you do not want to see that on a breakout if you're long. In fact, that's a good reason to probably actually close it. Otherwise, I'd hold it. Otherwise, I would hold that. You know, I remember this off the top of my head. Lockheed Martin is one. Now, Lockheed Martin's kind of making recovery here. You know, after pulling back to, was that a 50% from there? I believe it was. A little bit below it. A little choppy price action. Oh, well. But things like this on a breakout you don't want to see. This is a weekly again. Did Microsoft have one? Or did Microsoft break theirs? I think it's not quite the same thing. Microsoft also had one, came back and stuttered a little bit, but it's breaking out. But what you want to see is good, solid breakouts. I mean, let's just bring Bitcoin up, for example. So Bitcoin back in yesteryear, we're still looking at a weekly. What it did when it got to its past all-time high was this. And this is what you want to see. Comes up, respects it for a few days, knows it's there, and then blows past it, does that kind of first week green candle that NVIDIA did, and then it basically made another green candle. Now, that is what you want to see in a breakout, and yeah, you're not going to have a chance to get into it once it goes that heavy. But you're always going to get that first green candle first. That's fine. So you never know, but this is what you want to see. But then the problem happens when you have a situation like this. And like it did in October, November of 2021, you basically have it where it fails to get back up there. This is, of course, on a weekly. On a daily, it's going to look a little bit similar to that. 1 second. Hold on just a second. I'm back. So that's going to be my play for NVIDIA. Actually, I'm actually not opposed to long it, but like I said, man, I can give you an opinion on, is it going to go up or is it going to go down, and it's just going to be opinion. But what I'm telling you here is useful. This is a trading opportunity to play the breakout, as I would like to play it, on a pullback to it, because then you know it's defined itself. If it keeps on mooning up and up, well, I mean, I don't know if you're long or not, but good for you. Hashtag this is not financial advice, but if you're long, stay long until it proves to you that it's a false breakout. And just to kind of circle back on the overall market, that is what we're going to have discussion about with SPY here pretty soon, S&P 500, because the S&P 500 on the futures, it's already made a new all-time high. It poked above it at the end of last year. Today, again, it kind of poked up there again. NASDAQ is well above it. See, NASDAQ is doing in those terms. See, NASDAQ did a week. These are weekly bars. So NASDAQ got above it, and then went back down. Kind of showed us a little bit of a false breakout. But we're going to have to see what happens here on SPY as it comes up to this all-time high. The reason I would not have qualified this as a false breakout is because we had these first 3 weeks to give us that confirmation above there. Yeah, we had this first week of January that got everybody a little scared that, oh no, it's not going to work. But I mean, I was not concerned. I'm still not concerned at all because I'm just not. I'm not. There are a lot of people out there. I got asked today, like, how do I buy VIX products? Someone wanted to bet on VIX going up, and they were telling me that VIX is at historic lows. If you're saying that VIX is at historic lows, I just don't think that you were around in 2017. Google Volmageddon if you want to see what happens when everyone assumes that volatility will stay low forever. But historic low volatility for me is single digits. And basically you'll know VIX is in single digits when there is just no trading opportunities out there. The market just slowly grinds up. That is what low VIX actually looks like. So yeah, NVIDIA, good play. All right. Oh yeah, I covered Ethereum name service. Anybody else got any questions? Any symbols to post in chat? Oh, let's look at Casey's, of course. Idea Biosciences. That looks like it's moaning. Let's see, 4018. The only thing I really question about some of these is trying to catch them there. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Good luck if you're long. Diamond hands that tech stock. But be watching for a false breakout. Less than monthly. So again, I think it is best to kind of go either a daily or a weekly when something comes up to all-time high. I would just prefer to catch them before. Actually, this is a good example. So let's just say that we're here on ID a couple of weeks ago. If we could go in a time machine, we get 1 week above, 1 week below, and we want to say, okay, I'm going to take a trade where I want it to pull back. Okay, so the question really is, how much of a buffer are we going to give it in terms of risk? I don't play this, so I probably need to come up with a rule to tell people. These are not my style of play. But let's just say that we wanted to give it like a 1-to-1 ratio. And given that this is a break, Casey, you try to do a 2-to-1, right? How do you come up with your target, Casey? Help me out here on breakouts. Like, what kind? Is it like a Fibonacci extension or what? That is one thing that people use. That's not what I use in my trading, because typically now with stocks or any assets, I'm kind of the Warren Buffett opinion that I'm buying them to. I basically try to take profit at 3-to-1 on a pullback, so I know where my target's going to be. It's going to be that high, basically. I think was it WBA? That was one from early in the week. It's back in my entry again. Okay, maybe Jen, you were right to actually to get out of that point. But basically, when I'm playing pullbacks, I'm able to take it back at the 50% retracement, so I know where my target's going to be. But on breakouts, I'm at sort of a loss. But it's important because that helps you size your positions if you are playing breakouts. So I was trying to do this without seeing the future. I would say you got to come up with a rule for yourself on that one. I'll think about this over the course of the week. I think that what people do though is they look for Fibonacci extensions. So let's do that. So you can use the TradingView tool here to add these. This is the whole list down here that are grayed out. But people will use these Fibonacci extensions just like they use Fibonacci pullbacks. They are They're numbers based on the fractal patterns of, conch shells and things like that people apply to trading. To me, it's sort of a cool story, bro, but it can have some usages. But essentially, the first thing you're going to look at is a 1.618 retracement. From the high to the low of the trend that got there. So really, what we're doing is we're looking at the trend, and I would measure it from basically. Let's do it from the high to here. Again, I'm not an expert on this. It's arbitrary number for us, and then what I would do is I would concoct a long position, and we're going to take it with our target up to here. That's a 2-to-1, and so we can actually get that a little bit wider if we want to get 2-to-1. So that's giving our tool 2-to-1, and then that will give us enough of a buffer for if it does pull back, that we can stay in the trade and play it up to whatever price that we may seek. And so let's go back to NVIDIA and let's look at that. I'll tell you what I'll do. If we do get a pullback, I'll take such a trade as thus. Okay, so this makes it a lot more clear. I'll take this with you guys just to kind of play it out. Like I said, it was kind of a New Year's resolution to take better logs. So I'll definitely log this to the Discord. Play a breakout, not my bag, but I'll play it for you guys. And then the trade will look like this. Target 746 initial target, 2-to-1. I like that. See, normally what I would do is want to make sure that I cleared this last low right here, and that does. That lets it come back potentially. I'm thinking worst case scenario. Comes back, holds that, good to go, and for the long term. And it probably would take, because this is a weekly, out towards the summer or maybe towards the end of the year, depending. So yeah, that would be kind of the trade that I would look for. I mean, I wouldn't want it to do all the way back down to my stop, but that would let me capture it at a retrace of the high and then catch it going back up. And that would be good. Actually, now that I'm having fun with it, Apple has been doing something like that too. Actually, I think you probably would have gotten stopped out on that. That's not a good example. Okay. Anyway, point and figure. Really? You want to point me to a source there? I like to learn things. All right. Well, thanks guys for joining me and listening to my talk earlier about Bitcoin. I'm going to go grab some dinner. I do this every Friday. If you want to catch the live streams, 4 p.m. Links are below. Also, my spike indicator. If you want that, send me a message with your TradingView username. Anything else I missed, Jen? Got to check with you. Oh yeah, you got to join Discord for the spike indicator. Join the community. I don't charge for it. It's really just to kind of crowdsource ideas. It really is. It really is. I like to share ideas. I like for people to come and challenge my ideas too, but most people just come to learn and ask questions about how to use 50% retracements and spike indicators. What's up, Beach Bum Trading? Where is that? Where is Melbourne Beach, by the way? I wonder if where is that? Which side of Florida is that on? I'll be coming down to Florida a lot, I presume, in the next couple of years. And maybe we'll hang out. That is, you're not far from hold on. We'll figure something out. You're on my radar. I think I actually have to come down there close to there for family, as a matter of fact. What beaches? Anyway, we'll talk offline. Good to see you, man. Yep. Link USD. Okay, let's take a look at that before we sign off. Is it mooning? It mooned. This is a weekly chart. Are we? What I like to look for, Volve, is I want to look for a 50% retracement. And so here, your buying opportunity is at 11.7. Nice little price action there to kind of support it. And so that's what I'll be waiting for, and that will be my buy point. XLM USD. This looks very different. This, on the other hand, has instead held its 50% retracement as a resistance. And wow, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Those are selling opportunities. Unless you can possibly get it to break above it, and maybe it can pull back and provide you support there. But it's pretty much telling you that that's a resistance, and it's been holding it. Can't break above that 13.5 cent level. So that's a very different chart. But yeah, same premise. 50% support or resistance. Remember that. Drawing your charts using the Fibonacci tool in TradingView. Just take off all the rest. They confuse people. And I'm going to take these off again because, like I said, I don't really use those so much. But for the sake of argument, I did. Can you look at lows and then depot 2? What do you mean low? Is lows? LOW? Link USDT. I did on the weekly. Actually, lows, I mean, it looks like the same price action, but lows is a little more bullish. It didn't hit its 50% at 160. Basically, lows is more bullish. Lows is kind of the winner. Yeah, it is interesting. Link. I think I did look at that though. Weekly, like I said, on the weekly, it's the same story. Same story. It's still the same trend that began in September, and looks like it topped out in December, and there you have it. So far though, it's come up here and held its 50% retracement of this down move. That's what the red line is right there. 14.95. Snow. Now you guys are getting this. This is why I do this. Now you guys are getting in. I gotta end the live stream at 15 minutes early so I can get the things to look at. Snowflake. Rough. It just can't seem to get out of its consolidation here. But again, if you can get yourself a close above 205, maybe you can get a launch up, and then that same 50% will be in play from the past one coming down. So let me revise this a little bit, more like up to next level resistances here, 257.63, if you can get a breakout to there. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next Friday.